What is the difference between the effects of C and CO? Both carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide are asphyxiates. That is, when inhaled they do not cause direct injury to the respiratory tract, but reduce the oxygen available to the body. C is a simple asphyxiate which displaces air, whereas CO is a chemical asphyxiate which combines with hemoglobin to form a compound which prevents oxygen transport by the blood. What is the difference between an inhalable substance and a respirable substance? Inhalable substances are capable of entering the mouth, nose and upper reaches of the respiratory tract during breathing. Respirable substances are capable of deeper penetration to the lung itself. It is the size of the individual particle which determines whether a substance such as a dust is inhalable or respirable. What is pneumoconiosis? Pneumoconiosis is the general term for an accumulation of dust in the lungs and the tissue reaction to its presence. What is the limitations of WELS? They are designed only to control absorption into the body following inhalation. They take no account of human sensitivity or susceptibility, especially in relation to allergic response. They do not take account of the synergistic effects of mixtures of substances. They do not provide a clear distinction between safe and dangerous conditions. They cannot be applied directly to working periods which exceed 8 hours. They may be invalidated by changes in temperature, humidity or pressure. What is the purpose of safety data sheets? Safety data sheets are intended to provide users with sufficient information about the hazards of the substance or preparation for them to take appropriate steps to ensure health and safety in the workplace in relation to all aspects of their use, including their transport and disposal. What are smoke tubes used for? Smoke tubes are used to test the effectiveness of ventilation or air conditioning systems and chimneys, to detect leaks in industrial equipment, to assess relative air pressures used in certain types of local ventilation systems, and to provide general information about air movements in a work area. What is the difference between local exhaust ventilation and dilution ventilation? Local exhaust ventilation, LEV, is a control measure for dealing with contaminants generated from a point source. Dilution ventilation deals with contamination in the general atmosphere of a workplace area. What is the main purpose of routine health surveillance? The main purpose of routine health surveillance is to identify at as early a stage as possible any variations in the health of workers which may be related to working conditions, physical, ergonomic and psychological health hazards, and control. Personal hearing protection advantages and disadvantages. Muffs, some advantages. Convenient for putting on and off in situations where the noise is not continuous, road. Drilling. Ditto in situations where communication is required during quiet periods. Built-in, radio, communication possible using muffs, helicopter pilots. Muffs, some disadvantages. May clash with other PPE. Can prove uncomfortable with continued use. Plugs, some advantages. Unlikely to clash with other PPE. Not uncomfortable. Can provide good protection. For example, special plugs are available for impact noises. Plugs are always ready, on guard, providing they are being worn, of course. Plugs, some disadvantages. Cannot easily be taken in and out. Think of communication implications. Require careful storage and fitting. Type of electromagnetic family radiations. Radio waves. Microwaves. Infrared. Lasers. Ultraviolet. X-rays and gamma rays. What are the demolition work hazard? Falls. falling material and collapses, electrical shock and burns, mobile plant, manual handling, rules for working at height to prevent falls. No work at height unless it is essential, if work at height is unavoidable. Ensure that the working platform, of whatever type, is safe and secure, checking that it is strong enough to support the weight of workers and equipment. It is stable and will not overturn. Scaffolding needs to be tied to a supporting structure. The ground is stable and will support the structure. Provide guardrails, barriers, toe boards, etc. at all openings on floors, close to edges on roofs, on working platforms. Platforms to be constructed so as to be free of any openings or traps through which people's feet could pass. Constructed so as to prevent material falling through, in particular. With a wire mesh floor, mesh should be fine enough to prevent materials slipping through. Kept free of dripping and slipping hazards. Kept clean and tidy. Temporarily suspended access cradles and platforms. Precautions. Adequate guardrails and toe boards and material cannot fall off. It can be fitted close to the building, which must be capable of carrying the loads placed upon it. A secondary safety rope fitted with a fall arrest device is provided and used. Adequate operating instructions and technical support are available. There is safe access into, and safe egress from the cradle. What are the precautions of ladders? The ladders are in good condition. The ladders can be fixed to prevent running sideways or slipping away from the wall. The bottom of the ladder is supported on a firm level surface, if possible making use of ladder feet. If the bottom of the ladder cannot be fixed, then a second person should foot the ladder, both to hold it firmly and as a lookout to stop people walking into it. The ladder should extend a sufficient height above the landing place to ensure that workers can safely and comfortably transfer from and to the ladder. All light tools should be carried in a shoulder bag or holster attached to a belt, leaving both hands free. Heavy or bulky loads simply must not be allowed. What measures should be taken to prevent materials falling from a height? Not stacking materials near edges and particularly unprotected edges. Close boarding of working platforms, minimizing gaps between scaffold boards or placing sheeting over the boards so that material cannot fall through. Avoiding carrying materials up or down ladders, etc. by using hoists and chutes to move materials. The safety precautions of mobile elevating work platforms. That there is firm sound ground for the vehicle to stand on. That there must be sufficient clearance from any building or obstacle. Barriers must be put in place to provide an exclusion zone which also prevents collisions with the equipment. That there is adequate edge protection for the cradle. That the controls of the arm should be inside the cradle. Excavation safety precautions. Inspect trenches daily before work begins. Don't go near an unprotected trench. Check weather conditions before work. Be mindful of rain and storms. Keep heavy equipment away from trench edges. Be mindful of the location of utilities underground. Always wear proper protective equipment. Don't work beneath raised loads. Conduct atmosphere tests. If low oxygen and toxic gases were detected, workers must not enter the trench. Protective systems like benching, sloping, shoring and shielding must be created. Planning and implementation of safety measures must be done by a competent person. Use a checklist to perform regular self-inspection.
Please give comment and suggestions.
Thank you.
Subscribe our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon for more updates. Thank for visit our channel. See you next class.
Thank you.